Chinamasa breaks silence on Christopher Mutsvangwa's death, a tribute, a reflection, a legacy. In the corridors of power, where whispers of legacy often outlive the echoes of speeches, the silence of one voice can sometimes say more than 1,000 words. But when that silence is broken, especially by someone as seasoned and revered as Patrick Chinamasa, the nation listens. And now, in the wake of the passing of a towering political figure, Christopher Mutsvangwa, Chinamasa has finally spoken. Before we dive into this compelling story and reflection, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more exclusive coverage, political updates, and powerful voices that shape Zimbabwe's past, present, and future. Don't miss any of our content as we uncover the layers behind the headlines. Christopher Mutsvangwa, a man whose name is etched in the history of Zimbabwe's liberation and post-independence political landscape, passed away under circumstances that sent shockwaves through the nation. Known for his bold character, unwavering convictions, and at times, controversial stances, Mutsvangwa was never a man to go unnoticed. His death left a silence that only those who knew him well could begin to fill, and one of those voices belongs to Chinamasa. Patrick Chinamasa, the long-serving former finance minister and a senior ZANU-PF official, had maintained a reserved stance after Mutsvangwa's death. Many speculated why. Some assumed grief. Others, political caution. But now, days after the news broke, Chinamasa has opened up, and what he said is both moving and politically symbolic. In a carefully worded statement delivered during a close commemoration in Harare, Chinamasa described Mutsvangwa as the patriot who was never afraid to swim against the current when he believed it would take the nation forward. These words, calm yet resolute, paint the image of a man who, despite political storms, never wavered in his personal interpretation of Zimbabwe's national interest. Chinamasa went on to recall the early days in the struggle, how both men, though taking different paths later in government, remained connected by the common thread of sacrifice and service. Chris was not always easy to work with, he admitted with a rare, candid smile. But it was that difficulty, that fiery drive, that made him indispensable in certain situations. He spoke at length about Mutsvangwa's role in shaping post-liberation narratives, particularly his leadership in veterans affairs and his media engagements where he championed what he termed national consciousness. While others preferred silence, Mutsvangwa often grabbed the microphone, sometimes to praise, other times to provoke, but always with purpose. Perhaps most telling was Chinamasa's emphasis on legacy. Whether you agreed with Chris or not, you could never accuse him of inaction. His fingerprints are on too many pages of our history, and they won't be wiped away anytime soon, he said, drawing murmurs of agreement from those gathered. Chinamasa also touched on unity, subtly addressing the tensions that had often flared within the ruling party. We must learn to honor our own, not only in death, but in life, he said. A statement that, while intended as a tribute, also sounded like a lesson for the living, for the party, for the youth, and for Zimbabwe at large. As we reflect on these moments, let's also take a pause and remind you once again to hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in the people behind the politics, the untold stories, and the legacies that shaped our nation, this channel is your destination. Stay informed, stay connected. Chinamasa's words did not just mourn a comrade, they reintroduced Mutsvangwa to the nation in a different light. Not as the firebrand politician of the headlines, but as a layered, complex, deeply patriotic man whose absence will be felt deeply in both political and personal spheres. As the nation prepares to lay Christopher Mutsvangwa to rest, voices like Chinamasa's help frame the story of a man who will be remembered not just for what he did, but for what he dared to stand for. And in a time where silence can feel like complicity, Chinamasa's voice has arrived as both closure and catalyst, reminding us that in Zimbabwean politics, the final word is never just about the past, it is always about what we choose to become next. Thank you for listening. Subscribe now, and stay tuned for more real stories, real voices, and real impact.